start out in Italy, in Genoa, in a thunderstorm, which added some charm to this old city in that marina. It's one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world, and a major part of history during the Crusades. We lost our photos and videos of this trip due to an unfortunate SD card failure, but luckily Jill had taken a trove of photos on her iPhone. Genoa is rich in history and was at one time the wealthiest city in the world, and it also boasted the largest naval power. Blue jeans, or jeans as we call them, originated in Genoa. The sailors of the 1500s wore pants made from a tough fabric that was woven here. Ships even used this material for their sails. Cloth weavers in the French town of Nîmes, not so far from Genoa, improved these Genoa's cotton by adding wool and silk, which resisted wear much better than the original. This tough, heavy fabric was of Nîmes, France, or Denis, denim as we call it today. I wanted to visit the replica of Christopher Columbus's childhood home, but sadly, there wasn't enough time this trip. We stayed at the Marina Hotel, which is in the marina. There's a bus stop just outside the hotel that makes frequent runs into the city and to the airport. The stops in town are clearly marked, and you can't get lost. From Genoa, we drove down the Italian coast to Cinque Terre, or Five Lands, specifically Levanto, a place my brother and I first visited in 1992 and I have never forgotten. It's really hard to believe that 30 years have gone by, and so quickly. We stayed at the Bellevue, which is on the mountainside. We could open our shutters and take in the view of Levanto and the Mediterranean. And there was an old stone walkway that led down the mountain from the hotel, well worn from centuries of use, but it made it easy to get from the hotel to the town. We spent a couple of days in Levanto, just touring around the town, visiting shops, the flea market, and restaurants, taking in the view. You can buy a pass for the train that will take you from village to village, which is reasonably priced. After a relaxing couple of days in Cinque Terre, we'd leave Levanto and continue driving south through Tuscany, where the wild fig trees line at the side of the road, to the birthplace of Galileo Galilei, Pisa, more famous for its leaning tower. The tower's foundation was laid in 1173, and because of wars and other problems, it took almost 200 years to build to completion. The tower is important to history. It is where Galileo dropped his famous two cannonballs, and the tower was almost destroyed in World War II because it was being used by the Germans as an observation post. But an American sergeant, seeing the beauty of the cathedral and the tower, abandoned his artillery strike. Soon, we're back in the car, driving to Livorno, on the Ligurian Sea, another historical city. This statue, erected in 1617, is known as the Monument of Four Moors. It represents the victories over the people of the Ottoman Empire. and slavery, which sadly was the way of life then. Many sites important to history were destroyed here in World War II. From Livorno, we head to our bed and breakfast, which is just outside of Rome. It's a private house, well furnished and beautiful. More importantly, it is quiet, peaceful, and we can go outside and walk through the flowers and rest. Why would you ever choose a hotel when you can experience this instead? After settling in, we visited the black sand beaches nearby, where this sand is a rich black in color, the result of ancient volcanic activity. Afterwards, a small seafood dinner at Roma al Mare, Rome by the sea, and just relaxing afterwards. Although the B&B was very nice and relaxing, we got up early the next morning and took the train into Rome. At the train station, we took our bus passes and started exploring. Of course, there is the Colosseum, or Colosseum as we call it, an amazing structure. It's about 2,000 years old, and some estimate that over 400,000 people died in this arena over the 350 years it was in operation. We also got to walk by Constantine's Arch. It commemorates 10 years of the reign of Constantine and his battle triumph over Emperor Maxentius. It's almost as old as the Colosseum. Another highlight of Rome that we didn't want to miss was the Trevi Fountain. It really isn't old when you compare it to the Colosseum, being built in 1762. But talk about beautiful. If you visit Rome, Trevi Fountain must be on your list. After we exhausted ourselves in Rome, we took the train back to Ladispoli, picked up the car, and drove down to Naples. I remember Naples from 1992, and you don't want to drive in Napoli or Naples, trust me. Our hotel was the Golden Towers. Very nice accommodations, but right outside the window and on the street below, abject poverty. The view of Mount Vesuvius, though, and Napoli from the hotel, it was impressive. We were going to have dinner in the hotel that night, but strangely, the chef, he kept staring at our table all night. Made me, uncomfortable. Having traveled the world, my gut, no pun intended, told me, let's go. So we did. You can do your own Google on food safety in Naples. At any rate, we went outside and hailed a taxi who took us on the wildest taxi ride ever. Crazy. But we laughed and enjoyed it the entire way. We were worried about the food, but we could have been headline news that night.
This has been a good night.
I love it. I love Italy. Oh my gosh. Shit. Oh my lord.
Oh,
Oh. Oh.
We ended up at a seafood restaurant where the service and the food were actually top notch and delicious. After dinner, the chef invited us into the restaurant and we drank limoncello. All in all, a most exciting and wonderful night indeed. At least our last night in Italy was filled with an unforgettable excitement. Guys, until next time, be a good human. Be safe.